Hey world, what's up? Vince Genella here to talk to you about this awesome Strandberg, and this is the Fusion. NX Fusion. Color is fire, and the guitar is beautiful. Really, really, really beautiful. Super lightweight. Great tone. So the purpose of this video is to restring and set it up. This is not my guitar, but it almost was my guitar. I had this on order over at the good folks at Sweetwater, and I had bought 2 neck throughs, and this wasn't supposed to come in for months, and called me and said, hey, your guitar's in, and I just wasn't ready to buy another one. So I called up a friend of mine who was eyeing them up, and he purchased it instead of me. So I'm setting it up for him. He has some hand issues, and that's why I suggested this guitar, because, you know, that's what Strandbergs are known for. Their ergonomic design and play better, feel better, right? So this, in case you don't know, some people don't know, the trapezoid style neck, and it really helps with your thumb and wrist and the whole bit of posture when you're sitting. So I suggested it to my friend Anthony, and he really likes it, and it's been helping him out with his hand issues. But one other thing I did suggest to him was to go to 8s, because he plays with 10s and 11s, and the doctor seems to think that might be part of his problem. So I said, hey, well, why don't we switch it up? So we're going to go with 8.5s. Yeah. 8.5s, there they are, and let's get with it. Alright, so the bridge has a proprietary design, and what you do is you have to loosen these guys and then take the string from over here and loosen these guys, and then pull the string, pull the string through out the barrel. So one of the problems is when you do this restring, the bar moves backwards, because once you take the strings off, there's no tension and the bar goes back. So Ola Strandberg suggests on the website that you take some picks and put them in as a brace. And that's exactly what we're going to do. That's what I do all the time with mine. So let's do that real quick right now. I have an actual pick of the genius guitar master Les Paul. This he cut himself and put these grips on them so he wouldn't drop them, which I believe a company called Cool Picks then designed their picks after this idea. Les had really bad arthritis, and he would drop the picks, so he did this. But this pick actually works great for this idea. Also, take out the bar. We want the bar out when we're working on guitars. And this guy unscrews, and then you can lift it right out. Okay, so over here, there's some space. So you wedge these picks in here, all right? And then once you release the tension from the strings, they stay put. All right, so here we go. Now what you're gonna do is, I've seen some videos and people take these off. There's no need to take these off, okay? And just feel when it starts to feel like it's really loose. And now these strings are like off, okay? So that's probably enough. Okay, you don't have to take these off. That's it. Now do it again on this guy. Okay, and those picks are doing their job. The bridge is staying firm. We're going to do this in real time so you can see that it doesn't take hours to restring your guitar and a lot of techie stuff. Okay. Just detune until they're loose. Now this is going to take forever, so I have one of Ola's other cool tools. The only thing is you can't feel when it's too loose, so I like to do it by hand, but I kind of know how far to go before it's going to come off, because these are on, it's like a barrel, and this will come off altogether. We don't want that. We just want this loose enough to get the string off. All right. Couple turns there, couple turns here. And again, you can feel when it starts to feel like it's going to fall off. There's plenty of threads there. All right, and our last one. Okay. Zip. And it goes quicker with the tool. Okay. All right. So they're a little wobbly. That's what you want. Okay. You don't want it to come off. And if it comes off, you just put it back on. It's not a huge deal. Okay. But there's no need to take all of these off and get the strings through. This is a standard Floyd Rose style Allen key. All right. You just put it right in and you just give it a little tweak and it should come right off. You shouldn't be fighting with this. And when you tighten it especially, do not over tighten. There's no need to clamp down like it's holding a bridge together that's going to carry thousands of cars into New York City. This is just a locking nut for your strings. It should not be over tightened. You'll strip it and damage the nut. All right. Loose. Easy. They come right out. Okay, and if they don't come right out, you gotta loosen it a little more. Done. Okay, now you just pull them through on this side. All right, that's it. Just make sure that these guys don't fall off, and if it does, then you deal with it. Just hold it in place. There's no need to pull it off and take it apart. Okay, go. Now these guys get a little weird because they get crimped because they are wound strings, so you should hold the barrel so it doesn't come flying off with your string. Okay. Same here. Alright, so now the bar is good. We're in good shape. It's not pulling too far back. We got our picks in place. And now we're going to throw in our 8.5s. Okay, 8.5s. Look at that. I usually give this a little bend. Not much, just a little bend so that when I put it in, it pops upward into this area here. All right, and that way you can grab it. See? Piece of cake. All right, string that guy through, make sure it's on the bridge, and then put it through the top. Go through the top. Now, that might be not enough, so we just raise that. There we go. Alright, now that that's in, I give it a little pull. Okay, and I'm pulling that pretty good. Okay, it's pretty tight. And I tighten it. And I don't kill it, like I said. Easy. That's it. That's it. Finger tight. You don't have to cram down on it. Okay, that's it. If I just move it a little bit backward, it's going to undo. It'll stay in tune, trust me. Alright, now since we're on this side, the new hardware has this little area here that protects you from getting stabbed, which is a wonderful idea. So you just take the pliers and clip it, and you can push it down with the Allen key. And now you shouldn't get stuck. Back to over here. Now you can take this guy and then you just tighten this up. Now, I don't suggest you do that right away. Get all the other strings in. Then we're going to have to adjust the trem because there were 10s on here and we're going to 8.5s. So this bar is going to pull far back. So what we'll need to do before we take these picks out is adjust the claw and loosen it. Okay, we're going to need to loosen this claw before we take these picks out because it's set up for 10s and the pressure on this will pull this bar backward, and we don't want that because it'll fret out and it won't sound good. Again, take the string, give it a little bend. There. And then it angles up just fine. Put it through. And then we come up to here. Go right in. That one was much easier than before because I have the locking nut up higher. Give it a little tweak. I pull it nice and tight. Okay. Make sure it's in the bridge down at the bottom, which I can't switch the camera right now, so you'll have to wait for that. And go ahead and tighten it. Not too much. Okay? That's it. And what I mean by that is make sure the string is in the saddle, because sometimes it doesn't go on the saddle, you're not looking, and then it's down here and you tighten that up and you cut your string and then you realize, oh, I got to redo this. Again, take the string, give it a little tiny bend, zip, and put it through, and it should come up just nicely so you can grab it, no problem. Now these little tailpiece bridge saddles move, and you could actually move them with your fingers, or we can break out this new tool. And the new tool, I believe it's this side. Yeah, just sits right in there. That's perfect. Yes, it works great. I like it. All right, take this, come over to the other camera, come up to the top, and zip it right in. Alright, so this one I didn't take up enough, so I can do it by hand. And then just, oh, maybe one more time I'll use the tool instead. Go a couple rounds back. And again, take your time, go slow, be patient. Alright, so now, again, don't forget about the bridge with the saddle. And it's good. And that's it. Just tighten it a little bit. You don't have to wail on it, and I'm going to say it every time because people over tighten and strip these. I see it all day long. And again, this guy, pinch it up a little bit, put it in, and we're good. Come back over to here. Get a little faster at it now. I don't have to explain it every time. Loosen that, put that through, pull it through, give it a nice yank, and then put it in, and don't over tighten every time. I'm going to say that. All right, back to over here. Undo your string. End of string. Oh, this one was already bent. Bend that guy up. Whoops. Get the angle correct. Takes a couple times sometime. Let's go. There it goes. Angle it up. Beautiful. Zip, zip, zip. 1, 2, 3. In. Make sure it's on the saddle. Come over to here. Loosen this guy up. Push it through. And when they're up enough, it goes right in. It's no problem. Take this. Take the Allen. And lightly turn. Look, one finger. That's all I'm doing. And then I give it a little nudge. Tiny nudge. That's it. Okay? And just make sure. Once it stops moving, that's plenty. Ha! Look at that. Get over to here. It's off. See that? I missed. So thankfully, before I cut the string, I can just pop it back on and make sure the length is correct. Okay. Last string. Zip, 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 undo. A little bit of a bend in the top here. Slight. There we go. Make sure he stays on. Come over to here. And usually when you put it through, that's when it falls off the bridge, so double check your work. Loosen this guy up. And we're good to go. Alright. and give that a tweak. Take the wrench, nice and gently like, and that's it. Then a little tiny bit until it's snug. Again, do not overdo it. Don't just turn. It's crazy. These things will strip, and it doesn't need to be that tight. I cut all the ends off real close. Put it. All right, getting there. That's all right. It's good enough for now for what we need to do. So we're just going to loosen it up a bit, because with 10s that were on here, and we're going to 8.5, it's going to be too much pressure. All right. That's probably not enough, but we're going to leave it there. Now we'll tune it up a bit. Sometimes I like to use my fingers when we get close. That way, yeah, that's better. Cool. We're almost in tune. So what's going to happen is, if those picks don't fall out on their own, then we have too much tension on the spring still. So we got to loosen it. And we got to loosen it quite a bit, because again, we're coming from 10s. We're going to 8.5. I have a Strandberg Classic 6 in graphite, and I put 8s on that, and it's amazing, to say the least. Take this and drop the picks out. Alright, we are really close. And you double check, because with a floating trem, that's what this is, what winds up happening is you tune from 1 to 6, and by the time you get to 6, 1 is flat again. Okay? And we're just a tiny bit off, so you just give it a couple turns. And one of my tricks is to go a little sharp, just a tiny bit sharp every time. And then start over, and it should be less flat. So if that makes sense. So go a little sharp, and by the time you get to the 6th string, they should all start falling in line. And I might have loosened them a little too much, so if that's the case, we'll go back and flip the guitar over. See, now the 6th string is almost in tune, so that means that this is probably close or still in tune. Yes, so we're in tune. This one's a little sharp. Perfect. This one's a little too sharp. Alright. So yep, so now we're good. And a test of whether we're floating or not is it should flutter. So we get the bar nice and tight, then go back one, keep it in flutter position, and we have a slight flutter. So that means that the bar is a little off, and it is a pinch off. Not sure if you could see that. So I need to tighten the bar a bit to bring this back to about there. See, it's ever so slight, but that makes a huge difference. All right, unscrew. Always take the bar off when you flip the guitar over. It's too far up, pull the claw back in. I would say that would probably be enough to compensate. And you don't want to do too many full turns, because it's not off by much. And then what happens is now it's going to be sharp, so we have to go the other way, and that should put the bar in home position. So now you make the bar, the strings that you're tuning, a little flat on purpose, because it's going to come back. And if you don't understand that, it's basically physics, and the way things work. You have the strings pulling this way and the springs of the tremolo pulling the opposite direction to keep this balanced. There we go. A little too far. So we're probably going to do this 3 or 4 more times. Should probably just do another adjustment of the spring. So went a little too far. How far is too far? Well, that apparently was. So now what we're going to do is it's pulling a little too far in. So we're going to loosen them a pinch. And do a half turn. And then come back. And that's dead on. Let's hope the rest of them are dead on. That one is too. Okay, that one's a little flat. Cool. Now let's check the first string again. And it's in tune, right on the money. Same with that guy. That one is too. Awesome. This one's a little pinch off. Great. Cool. Now these guitars don't flutter like a Floyd Rose style bridge like that aggressively, but they do flutter. So don't expect it to flutter like an Ibanez Edge or a Floyd Rose, but they do flutter. So let's give that a listen. Alright, so I know it can flutter more. It's just a matter of tweaking the bar a little bit more, but you get the idea. So now what you have to do is, it's really close, whoops, but it's probably just pulling upward a bit too much. So it's going in this direction. We need it to come back to about there. And again, like I said, these little micro movements matter. Okay, so if you're wondering why your bar isn't fluttering or it's not coming back to tune, this is why. So you have to adjust that. You see the little movement I'm doing? Let's go this way. So it's a little too far. It has to come back a pinch. We're talking very little. But that is what you have to do to get it to stay. And it's tedious. So let's say live you were playing and you broke a string. Okay, you just shove some picks in the back and you loosen this just enough, like I said. Then you loosen this string that it's attached to, you know, the lock nut. Put a string in, pull it tight, like I said. Tighten that easily, okay? Finger pressure, done, easy. Then tune this up. It shouldn't take more than 5 minutes. Now, honestly, for years, I've been bringing 2 guitars to gigs. That's what you should do if you can afford a second guitar. You really, as a musician playing a gig in front of people, should have a spare guitar. So you can take this guitar off, put another one on, finish the set, and if you don't have a guitar tech, which I don't when I play live, I change the string between sets. Alright? So that's what you really should do. That's just my 2 cents about breaking strings live. Alright, so let's get back to getting this situated here. So I want it to flutter before we end the video. And I may just pause this and finish and then bring it back in. But really, it should take about 15 minutes to restring the whole guitar. Maybe less. I was talking and doing stuff and I'm trying to get the camera angles. So when I do this by myself, it doesn't take this long. Okay? Alright, let's flip it over and figure out this flutter situation. Now also, because of the design of the... oh wait, hang on, we got to get over to here. Because of this tremolo design, what's happening is when I put the guitar down, watch the bar, it moves. Watch. Did you see that? It's moving a little bit. I'll raise it a pinch. So you got to watch out. What you could do, and I forgot about this honestly because Strandbergs are new for me, under a year using them. I have 2 blocks of wood with some sponge around them to lift this, and I put them on either side of the tail, and I don't know where they are right now. But anyway, 2 blocks with sponge on them, so it doesn't scratch the guitar, and it keeps the bar from hitting your mat or your table, whatever you're using to, change your strings. All right, so I do know that this has to come back a tiny pinch. So that doesn't matter that I don't have my block or blocks. So what we'll do is we're going to take this and we're going to loosen it another half. That was really a quarter turn. All right, flip it back over and check the tuning. Bring it up. Sometimes the E string doesn't move, and we got lucky there, but the rest of them did. And by the time I get back to the E string, it's going to be off. All right, let's see. Do we have some flutter? And again, these don't flutter like a insanely crazy bar like a Floyd. There's a little more flutter there. The other thing you should do is actually hold the guitar up the right way, because when it's not like this, it actually doesn't flutter well. There it is. See, hear that? To flutter, the bar should be parallel with the strings, and it shouldn't be on the table. And then you just take the bar and flick the tip. And that's your flutter. Alright, so I'm pretty happy with that. It flutters great. So let's check the action. Move your tools out of the way, of course. And let's see and make sure that it does not buzz. So I gotta say, 8.5s are killer. So if you're not a fan of 8s, and 9s are a little too heavy, 8.5, 8.5. There they are again. The action is really good, and I'm going to leave this and see if my friend likes it. But if you did need to adjust the action, you would need a special tool. Okay, that would be this guy here. You're going to need this tool, and that goes right in here. Okay, and you would bring the whole bar up and down together. Or you can do individual pole pieces, which tends to be a little bit of a tedious thing, but you could do that. Now on most of my Strandbergs, I just level these out, bring them all the way down to the bottom, and then bring them one turn back, and then I adjust the height this way. And then if anybody buzzes individually, I'll bring it up from here. But on the Floyd Rose bars, you didn't have these individual saddle adjustments, and I kind of like that better, my own personal taste, because I'm so used to the Floyd Rose, but really not necessary, because you have these awesome adjustments on the tailpiece, along with the, we can call them the master tailpiece adjustments. Yeah, it's great. Feels good. Staying in tune. I didn't over tighten the top, and they're staying in tune. Okay, we're in. It's good. So don't over tighten, or you'll strip out the actual nut, and you'll have to get that replaced. But it's in tune. It feels good. I'm going to leave it right where it is. So we got lucky with the action remaining the same. You know, it really should stay the same as long as the neck doesn't move. And I'll know that in probably an hour or two. If the neck moves, we just do a little truss rod adjustment. Because we went from 10s, which has a lot more pressure on the neck, to 8.5. So now there's less pressure. So the neck may come back, but I really doubt it because of the way these guitars are designed, with a roasted maple neck and the carbon fiber reinforcement. This thing isn't going to move. It's going to be wonderful. So there you have it. a little how to adjust and change strings with a Strandberg. All right, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe. Please hit the bell. And please like. Yeah, like the video. Thank you. Take care. Catch you next time.